I always love that theme.
What's that from?
We talked about it before. It's No More Room in Hell. It was a source mod for Half-Life 2.
Right. It's a good tune.
Yep. I think it fits the video that we'll be playing today.
Rock on.
When we were last on here, we were talking about the Pleasant Inn.
Yes, you had brought that up, and I was a good boy. I did not watch it beforehand, so I'll be going into this raw. Not only because I promised I would not watch it ahead of time, but because
I have to see your reaction.
A lot of opportunity. I don't get a lot of opportunity to watch things, even when they are recommended to me by friends. It takes me forever to get around to watching videos that folks tell me I should check out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm better about books. When people recommend me books, I'll hop right on it. But that's
see, I'm bad at reading books, but I'm better at listening to books.
Audiobooks are a perfectly valid way to take in your fiction material. Trust me. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, okay. Before we get started, I apparently have to reset the little man's show. It paused on him, so I'll be right back in one moment.
Okie dokie.
I can still hear you though, because I got the earpiece in. So.
In the meantime, currently don't have anybody watching at the moment, but I'm sure people will trickle in momentarily. Damn. Try not to bring that into the stream. Been doing that the whole week. Lovely.
Yeah, how are you doing with that?
I'm doing a lot better. Last couple days were me cocooned in like 20 blankets and running a fever.
The blanket cocoon is one of God's great gifts to us.
Yeah. It's been pretty awful.
Sorry to hear about that, brother.
But I'm just thankful I'm getting better. You know.
Yeah, I mean, any progress is good progress.
Yeah. Take the blessings as they come, I guess. But yeah.
Oh man, there we go. Sorry. I have to adjust the kids' toys down here sometimes.
Yeah, so after we got done watching the Stalker Backrooms video, there was a lot of comparison to the creature that, well, I'm not going to spoil nothing, but there's a certain comparison that kind of brought me to this video. And I'm like, oh shit, Byron needs to see this. But I'm not going to say too much.
Okay.
So
I like a vagary every now and again.
We'll just say it's not going to be a mold monster.
Okay. It's nice to have a little bit of familiarity with some variety. That way you get the best of both worlds.
But it is something very evil and very hellish. And something I would not want to see at nighttime.
There's a lot of creatures like that reside in a lot of the material we tend to cover here.
Yeah, but this one specifically. And you'll see why. It's a rather, how do I put this? It's it's a special kind of hell.
Okay, quick question. Hey, quick question. Do you hear the TV in the background?
I do not.
Okay, good.
I see Munchkin over there.
Oh yeah, he's He's perched up on the back of the seat here. All right. And given that this is, I assume that the setting of this story is an inn or a hotel, a hostel of some sort. Um,
Yeah.
Not bad. Uh, which led me immediately to think, well, I know I've in the last like 6, 8 months read a couple of mythology tales focused on inns or hotels or hostels. And I've got some notes here from a tale from Japanese folklore that I've got notation jotted down from. I'm curious to see if there might be any parallels that might be included here, because that's again
Perhaps.
tends to be my thing, is to be the mythology dork.
But I would say normally we shall see, but I've already seen this. This is way before we started doing the deep dives. So unfortunately I would love to share the reaction, but the
With
pleasure is all yours.
all right,
So
I got this in, so he can't hear anything. But I do have a question. Should I get this away from him so he doesn't see something?
absolutely.
Okay. Sorry, buddy. Don't want to traumatize you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There is gore indeed.
Okay.
And
Like I'm not
there
worried
might
about
be
it.
a face that he might not unsee.
Okay. Um, because with my kiddos, obviously their dad writes horror
Yeah.
stories, so I know
I'm
eventually
fully
I'm
aware of the parameters, and yes, please ask them at any time, at any given measure, so that you may refrain from scarring them.
yep, yep. And like I mean, I had my 11-year-old, my daughter. She was curious a
But
couple
if I
months
don't
ago.
know, I don't know.
Yeah, my daughter was like, "Hey, Dad, you write scary, spooky stories, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, "Do you think I'm old enough yet to read any of them?" And I said, "I don't really think so." And she kind of pushed the ticket a little bit. She pushed the envelope. She's like, "Well,
Oh
do you have
man.
one that might not be quite so bad?" And I was like, "I'll give you the mildest of my Amelia City stories to read." She still has not forgiven me.
Yeah. It's crazy, especially like people that I know that try to get into Warhammer and then they try to get into the lore of Warhammer. They just see these cool space marines and Warhammer and aliens and blah 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 blah. But you get in the nitty
Right.
gritty of Warhammer or what Warhammer is, you're like, excuse me, by the way. Like,
Um,
anyhow, you get in the nitty gritty of Warhammer and the dark places of Warhammer. You're like, um, is this allowed? Yeah, they go that far of levels between demonic presences or cults or anything in that matter, aliens, whatever. I think the demons are probably the worst. Maybe some of the cults, but yeah,
Wait. Well, unless you've got anything you want to plug ahead of time, usually we leave plugs for the end.
I do not.
All right. Well, let's do our sort of our roll up our standard introduction. Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, either watching now or who will be coming back and watching later on. You are here in the
Replay
deep
gang.
dive. Yeah. Um, you are returning to the deep dives with Brother Cortex and myself, ByronOfSidius, and
As always, the greatest.
he has, thank you, he has set me up to watch a video story entitled
You make it sound
Pleasant.
bad like that. I
No,
set
no,
you
no,
up.
no, no. Um, this is largely due to uh, both Cortex's and my fascination and interest in stories to do with the supernatural, the bizarre, the otherworldly,
Lovecraftian,
and yes,
paranormal,
the
supernatural.
paranormal, the the queer in the true and original sense, not in the I don't know what my pronouns are queer.
No.
All right, you can take that nonsense and chuck it in the bin. This
No.
is what
No
we're doing.
wokeism.
No. Uh, Side note on that, really, really briefly. You
We're not
know, I'm a big
bullshit. We're here for material.
right. I'm a big fan of keeping like physical notebooks for keeping notes and journaling and story
Mm.
ideas and everything. I think that this is a practice that has gone out of style amongst a lot of storytellers, whether they be in video games, in television, in film. And I genuinely think that we have lost touch with some of our capacity for ingenuity and creativity in terms of storytelling by coming away from having a pen and paper in hand to physically jot down your ideas. This is a sidebar, and I
I need to
apologize.
start doing that
For
because I
these
have
sorts of
so many different
stories,
ideas.
yeah, for these sorts of stories, for these sorts of tales, you want to have a physical notebook of some sort, whether it be the hardbound hard covered bound journal style notebooks like this, or whether it be a spiral notebook, whatever. We need to return to this physical medium. Let me get you that. I'm gonna get him a drink and then I'll be ready to go.
Okay. But yeah, as you were saying, it's definitely good to have pen and paper and to jot down ideas. I myself, I am I guess, a hardcore enjoyer of different video games, different lore of different universes to you name it, comic books, whatever. And I take all these little inspirations from different things that I like, whether it be Resident Evil, The Thing, Dark Souls, um, even like Milsim shooters or anything of that genre, or anything like SCP involved, or I take those ideas, I kind of combine them in like a mix. Not so much so that they're a full on rip off of the material, but some of a new idea. So I definitely have ideas, but Byron does bring up a good point of pen and paper. It's always good to have even a good keyboard, mouse, computer, but definitely good to have to write down ideas.
Indeedly doodly. So without further ado, sir, go ahead and cue up for us the
Here we
pleasant game.
go. Are you able to see it okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, just at first glance, what would you do? Would you really stop?
Given my background and life experiences, no. No, I keep driving, and if I'm able to get far enough away that I can no longer see that person in my rearview mirror, I will pull over to the side briefly to quickly Google map and look for the nearest church or hallowed ground.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, we've all been to a motel like this at one point in our life.
Yep. And there's usually one or two peculiar kind of long-term residents who you're not entirely certain if they've been there waiting for something to open up in a nearby town for them to move into, or if they are travelers.
Hmm.
And it's always a strange kind of feeling that you get from them because you don't want to ask and be nosy, but at the same time, you want to know because the ones who are travelers tend to be shifty and untrustworthy, just as
Hmm.
a general rule. The ones who are, oh yeah, we're just waiting a couple weeks to close on a house just in town, perfectly good, perfectly fine. You're probably safe. They may be lying to you and will cut your throat open in the middle of the night and eat your tongue, fricasseed with some mushrooms, but you don't know. At least you get a better
Sounds like
vibe.
Colombian necktie.
Yeah. Or you,
Yeah,
you wake up in the morning with a really sore back and you find that someone has taken your kidney.
right. And you're in a bathtub full of ice. Yeah. Yeah. My general rule of thumb would be go get your key card or key, go to your room, and that's it. Don't talk to nobody, don't look at nobody, just do your thing and go in.
Yep.
And
Take
lock your
whatever.
door.
Right. Lock the door. Put whatever large piece of furniture that you can
Yep.
actually maneuver in front of the door. Shut the blinds, and if
Everything.
possible, right, if possible, if there's two beds in the room, you flip that second mattress up and you brace it against the window.
Yep. So she's already broken her rules. Well, the rules, not her rules, but the rules.
Right, right. I didn't see her lock the door. She didn't draw the curtains. She didn't brace anything against the door or window. You are allowing victimization to come barreling at you at top speed.
Not only that, if you look at the room next to it, I don't think they did either.
No,
Yeah.
but you'll also notice that the woman is sitting out there with the book in hand. Her blinds are drawn, yet she is sitting out there, out in the open, alone, a pale skinned woman with fire red hair. Now, there are plenty of mythologies out there that would indicate you have at least a couple of markers of a possible entity that is in humanoid form, just waiting for the right moment to pounce.
Perhaps.
Oh, it's a tablet. I thought it was a book.
Why would you turn the light on?
You just heard a shriek. Don't identify that you are present.
Oh God.
Like you are setting yourself up to die.
Yeah.
I'm I'm immediately put in mind of a Japanese horror film series called Tomi.
Maybe. Well, thoughts?
I dig it. I like it. Very reminiscent of some of the more volatile Victorian haunting tales, combined with a sort of monster of the region kind of story.
Mm,
You find a lot of these kinds of tales make their way through regional folklore, like the Beast of Pigman Road out in western New York, um, the the cackaltrice in Des Moines, Iowa, or just south of Des Moines, Iowa. Um, it also puts me in mind of the common ghost story, The Girl in White, which is it's an old kind of ghost story trope, classical tale wherein a young gentleman is driving along the highway between towns or heading home from work. He sees a girl kind of hitching their way, like in a half stutter step along the side of the highway or the country back road in a long white but dirtied dress, looking disheveled, lost. Pulls over to ask her if she's all right, if she needs a ride, and all she does is just kind of stare at him. And he lets her in the car, and she points to where she needs him to turn. And when he gets to this decrepit old farmhouse, he turns to ask if this is where she wants to go, and she's gone.
mm,
And he will then see like a shadowy silhouette figure outlined in one of the decrepit house windows, holding his hand against the glass, like trying to beckon him inside. Um, this is kind of classic New England folk tale that is of the sort I rather enjoy. This creepy critter was like some kind of one of those zombie bugs that burrows its way into the head casing of grasshoppers and forces them to jump into water so that it can spawn its offspring. It's there's definitely a nastiness to it.
yeah, there's a. What is it? Give me 1 second.
Hmm?
Yeah, that's what it was. It reminds me of something else as well. Um, there's a parasite in the game Dead Space. I don't know if you're familiar with it, like as far as the parasite I'm talking about.
I do not, only because I've never played the game.
Oh, well, I'm about to show you something, and you're gonna be like, "Whoa!" But there's a particular parasite in the game, and it's like basically a head with tendrils under it, kind of like something out of the thing. But what it does, it locks on the tendrils onto your neck and then rips your head off, inserts the tendrils into your spine, and then puppeteers the body.
It then uses you as literal meat puppet.
Yep.
Gotcha. Like those old 1980s, 1990s Transformers headmasters, but with more blood.
Oh, whoops. That's not what I was trying to share. That was a chat. There we go.
actually really brutal because it doesn't even look like it affixes itself properly to you.
No.
Like it just dangles off your neck meat.
And then it readjusts after. Like he
Right,
twists
like
the head
try to
around. Yeah.
right. It's a hand. Isaac's hand comes up and like tries to turn it, but even after that, it's still kind of dangling there. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't quite have the equipment to properly affix itself to his spinal column.
No. That's what that reminded me of. It was just like how it inserted itself into the body. Um,
Yeah, that is brutal.
there's another one I wanted to check out, like another video.
Anyway, you look something up. I'm gonna hit the loo real quick.
Okay. Let me see here. That's it. The other side of the box. Totally forgot about this.
The other side of the box is just the one where the guy gets a gift from a friend, and
Did
yeah,
you
okay,
see it?
you showed me that one.
Okay.
Yeah, you showed me that one last year.
Oh, that's
I thought
right.
that was a brilliant little short story, little short film.
Yeah.
You know, the whole "Why would you
Um.
do this to me?"
Yeah.
You know, and
Well, that's another one. It's called
a lot of these,
048.
never heard of that.
I don't know what it is either. Maybe we're in for a treat. I don't know.
Could be.
But sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
No, it's all right. I think what you'll find in a lot of these projects is a similar thread to folklore and to urban legends of old, to mythology, particularly after the sort of Austrian German tradition, wherein or Greco-Roman tradition too, where there's always a kind of cautionary message to be imparted by the story itself. Not necessarily finger wagging, but there's definitely something to be taken away from the overall narrative itself.
Yeah.
Beware of strangers, be mindful of your environment, always be prepared. As we kind of joked about before we, completed watching Pleasant Inn there, you know, we both said, yeah, you get into that room, you lock the door, you barricade it. You know, these are precautions that most people would not be paranoid enough to consistently think of all the time. But for folks like you and myself, who have spent a great deal of our entertainment downtime steeping ourselves in tales of the supernatural, the occult, the paranormal, the bizarre, the otherworldly, the Lovecraftian, we have a tendency to assume what is the worst possible set of bizarrery that we might encounter here, and how can we survive it?
Yep.
What are the bare essential things you need to do or keep on your person to try and at least have a fighting chance of survival? With the
Yeah.
Pleasant Inn, I'd also like to take a quick sideline note. The the hotel clerk, he came right outside with a double barrel shotgun.
No, it was a revolver.
Was it a revolver?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he emptied the cylinder, he shot one shot, which was kind of weird. And then he started reloading it.
what that's why I thought it was a shotgun. I thought it was a breech loader. Um, what I find curious about that is his response
Yeah,
was immediate. I am going to fight, as almost as if he's dealt with this sort of thing before,
that's what I thought.
or right, like
Like
this
he
thing has been a
knew.
pest. Right, he knew what was coming. Either he's dealt with it before, or working at the hotel. Perhaps this is a regional specter that he has heard tell of, so he was prepared in the event he should ever actually come across it.
He
This is
was
part
kind
that
of
was
prepared. I'll say that. I mean, let's be
yeah,
real. You're gonna think like some weird alien bug thing that's like inserting itself into people and using them as a meat puppet. I think I'd
right.
be a little more than a little fucking 6 shooter.
Right, there's only so much you can do to prepare legally.
Yeah, but we're in
There's also a
America.
certain amount, right there,
Second
but
Amendment.
there's also a certain amount of skepticism that goes along with these sorts of stories. But there are cultural practices that we have adopted, and that oftentimes we completely overlook the source of the cause. If I knock over the salt shaker, I I always take a pinch of it, of whatever spills on the table, and I blow it over my left shoulder. For a long time, I could not remember why I did that. My parents told me to do that growing up, and
I've heard that.
I was curious about this when I started reading deeper into old world mythology a couple of
Mhm.
years ago. This is a Celtic tradition based in the concept of the Fae folk. If there are fairies in your home, and they are benevolent fairies or hostile, if you spill salt or sugar, they are compelled to stop and count each individual grain.
I've heard that.
If, however, a human takes a pinch of the spilled substance and blows it over their left shoulder, in, which is symbolic of casting away the ill luck or the compulsion through the south wind, because for some reason in Gaelic mythology, the left side is associated with south, the right with north. But you are dismissing their compulsion, which will make them thankful to you as the human host of the home. So even if they are malignant fae folk, they will be thankful to you and will stop whatever nonsense or curse they've been working on you and mischief in your home. If they are benevolent, they will then do you a favor that you did not need or ask for,
Hmm.
just out of gratitude for breaking their compulsion. It's a little thing, but these small practices, we still carry them on.
Yeah. No, I mean, I
Sometimes,
still hear about it on and off, but like in this instance, though, I mean, had he known about this creature, I still think I would have picked up something more than a revolver. If I had a revolver on me, my ass is not going outside. I am barricading the door, and whoever's out there is out there to fend off whatever it is. But if I had a shotgun, maybe I might
right,
go
like
Marine from Doom and take it on. But
right, or you grab like a barbecue lighter and some Aquanet, and you're just like, make your flamethrower, bitches. This is
no,
going
I don't
down.
think I would even do that. Because you got to think about
No,
this, though. You would have only a certain range where that flame would be effective. Nah, I would have to get like an actual flamethrower and then go after it. Like a real flamethrower.
yeah, you want to have like the full splash, just like
Oh,
nope,
yeah.
kill it with
I
fire.
want the flame to literally shoot out from the jet of the weapon itself, still catch the ground on fire while I'm spraying it. I don't want it to go poof and then it's out.
Right. I love the smell of what is it? I love the smell of
Napalm.
napalm in the morning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
literally.
you want that kind of firepower, and I get it. Good wordplay there too, by the way. Firepower.
Yeah. I mean, I would not be playing around with something like that. Like that thing is gonna die one way or another. If it don't die, then I guess I'm going
And, and was it like it looked like it was like some kind of weird blend of a centipede and a scorpion, or
something. But whatever it
yeah,
was, it sure as shit wasn't getting me. It might have took my
nope.
body, but it wasn't getting me.
Whole great big lot of nope, 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 nope.
Right. Uh-uh. I'm sorry, but I mean, I will say this. I will give the guy credit. He was ballsy walking out there with a revolver.
Right, like the whole idea of standing his ground against this thing that maybe he's heard rumors, maybe he's heard urban legends about it stalking the area,
I still
especially
think I
given
would have had a
how.
shotgun. Period.
Now, here's why I think you would be absolutely correct in that assumption. Not only is there this weird local legend, possibly, that he's heard of, but even outside of that, this inn is in a very isolated area.
It's in a very rural area.
Right, an isolated wooded area where there
Yeah.
are likely large animals that may very well come roaming onto
Coyotes,
the property.
anything. Yep.
You want to have enough sufficient firepower to put down whatever's going to come traipsing through your parking lot
Right.
or pardon me, rummaging around in your garbage.
Well, think about it like this, though. I mean, what if it was a bear? Do you really think
Right?
that thing was going to stop a bear?
No. If it's a rampaging bear and it's closing on you
I mean, a
and you
40,
have a revolver,
sure, but
like your options are piss it off or make it quick.
yeah, but you better
Um,
hope that
and
bullet can penetrate that skull, though. Like, it better be
I
the
meant for
right
myself.
caliber, the right
I meant I,
load.
I meant to Minecraft oneself.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause I'm sorry, bears, much like wolves, often eat their prey ass first. I'm not going out like that. Sorry,
Yeah,
I don't need a rim job from hell.
a bear ass sandwich.
It's a good thing this show is not like monetized in any way. Or right there, we're getting
Oh, I'm not
canceled.
trying to be. I'm trying to do what I want to do to have fun. I don't care about none of that. But
I
yeah,
am
no,
pleasantly, I am pleasantly surprised too that the whole like Pleasant Inn. You know how I said that I've come across a couple of legends before that might be tied into it. Nope, not at all. Th-
that's why I
I
said
like
maybe,
I like
maybe.
that though because this is a different kind of hotel story. It's not like the
Mhm,
hotel itself is haunted or anything, or the patch of ground. It's this weird stretch of rural road, and this
mhm.
thing is clearly not your standard ghost. This is more like a
Uh-uh.
specter.
Yeah, that's
I,
what I was
I
trying to say though. Like it very reminded me of like when we were watching the Stalker, the Backrooms video. It very much
okay,
reminded me of that because I was like, wait a minute, I've seen this before. I've seen the
right, the
puppeteering before
the
like this.
puppeteering, right? So that's why you thought of Pleasant
Yep.
Inn. Okay,
So
yeah, there's definitely that element to it. Um, Interesting too that it set itself up for its next hunt in the current body that it's inhabiting.
you know what the weirder
Which is
part though is
hmm,
not only did it inhabit the body, but it still kept the head of the lady that it first attacked.
yeah, it kept that around. Like, what's the
Yeah, I don't know.
what's the deal there? Maybe it's fashion choice. I don't know.
Yep. Just
Very bizarre
emo
fashion
punk
choice.
rocker dad
Right.
bod.
Right. I feel like being a redhead, but also having a beard gap.
Right. Yep.
I like
Blue
too
collar emo
the
girl.
animation. Right. The way that the animation, the way it's lit, its cheeks split open to
Oh my
allow those
god.
those pincer mandibles out. That was really well done.
Very
Kudos
much
to
so.
whoever the animator was, the illustrator. You know that, and here's the thing: that short little project, short little production, probably took an ungodly amount of time to put together
I could only imagine.
because it looked hand drawn to me. I,
Yeah,
I'm not the
I
best,
thought
I'm not
so
the best
myself,
visual
but
analyst, but hand
it was
drawn
very,
animation
very
like
well
that,
done.
oh, it's gorgeous, and just the amount of dedication that takes, you know, sadly overlooked by current current media expectations and demands. Like somebody took this story, which was obviously a labor of love, in order to be able to hand animate that entire project. Um, I would hate to see stuff like this go completely out of the realms of available viewing.
I mean, it got quite the viewing. It was actually a rather popular video. Let me see
That's
here.
good to hear. That's good to hear.
Yeah, that video got 2 million views and 114K likes.
Deserves more than that. I mean, holy shit! But I mean,
Deserves
great number
way
of
more than
views.
that. And he
Yeah, that
currently
was
has,
fantastic.
it's David Romero. They have 220K subscribers. Yep.
Well, Mr. Romero, fucking kudos to him.
He's got
This is
more like different projects that he's done, like videos.
are most of them animation.
Yes.
Nice,
I can
nice,
put
nice.
another one up. They're all very,
Sure
very
thing.
short.
Sure
But
thing.
this one's called Pine Devil Horror. Oh, I've I have seen this one before though, especially. But I think you'll like it. Mine just looking for it. Sounds like me.
Figured something like that was going to happen because I could make out what you're saying turn around.
Yep. Crazy. Crazy work. That one got 1.8 million.
As again, visually, just beautifully done work. I mean, and I know that there would be people who would say, it's really kind of amateur level looking. It's like, do you understand that this was all
Mm-mm.
most likely done by hand? That's
Right.
gorgeous, and they're probably done by a single person, by this Mr. Romero. Colin, give me 1 minute. I have to stop him from crawling up into the fridge.
um. Hmm. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
About what?
Um, there was another game that came out. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but I played a game called Tarkov or Escape from Tarkov,
Yeah, it's
and
a kind of a survival first person shooter, right?
yeah, the extraction shooter.
Right.
Well, it got a lot of heat as of recent because um they tried to put excuse me, they tried to put wool over all their like customers, like their supporters' eyes with they how do I put this? It's a long story, but back when the game came out, which was in like I think 2016, they had three editions of the game. Your standard,
Okay.
your left behind, and your edge of darkness. People bought the edge of darkness, which was like $150. That was like the top
Ooh.
one, the top tier. Me,
Yeah.
I started off with the standard, then I upgraded and paid the difference. So by
Right.
doing that, because I love the game's a great game. Um, that being said, the details of which the edition, like what they entail, basically, like you got like guns and like stash space and better starting equipment. Um, because it was the like top tier, you would get like DLC, like free DLC as the game progressed in development. Basically, you paid as much as they wanted you to pay, and that was as much as you were going to pay for the game, according to them at the time. Then they started introducing microtransactions, and you know, it kind of went on from there. People were already skeptical about that. They're like, "All right, we'll play ball." Edge of Darkness. The people who had that edition, especially me, they were able to get Tarkov Arena for free and have access to it when it came out. Then eventually they got rid of Edge of Darkness, the top tier edition, and the guy that was in charge of the company told another big YouTuber, yeah, by the way, we're introducing a new addition to the game." So everybody's like, what is that supposed to mean?
What the fuck? You're double dipping.
So they called this edition Unheard Edition. And mind you, solo PvE mode was not a thing. Like, what's up, Tim Hicks? Um, so solo PvE was not a thing. Like the campaign, like the single player part of the game was not a thing
Right.
at the time. People have been asking for it, and they said that they wanted specifically the game to be a multiplayer game, and that's that. It was a live service multiplayer game.
Right.
So time goes on, Unheard Edition comes out. They introduce single player PvE mode with co-op. But here's the kicker. The people that have already bought Edge of Darkness, well, they were promised all the DLC for free after paying that specific price, the $150. The Unheard
Let me
Edition
guess. They
is
wanted you to pay now.
$250.
Dear Lord.
That's the retail price. You can upgrade from to the 250 after paying the 150 for the Edge of Darkness. You could upgrade for another $100. And then they said, well, that's not DLC, that's a feature. Yeah,
How do you not call that DLC?
I don't know.
Or, I don't know, going raw with no lube up your customer's ass?
Hmm. Yeah, that's
For that kind
that's not DLC, that's a feature.
for that kind of money, do you know how many like retro handhelds I could fucking buy that are loaded with
Um,
thousands of games from the word go?
it gets worse.
Oh, that's gonna be delightful.
It
Let
gets
me
worse.
be out here. I'm smoking.
So not only is this Unheard Edition loaded with pay to win elements,
Buddy, yeah.
the Unheard Edition at the time, like, so how do I explain Tarkov? You got these different maps that you do like tasks, like you go retrieve things, kill people, whatever, right?
All right.
But you also have like not only the other players that are in competition with you, but the elements, like they're called scavs, like short for scavengers, and they're like basically they're like Russian gangsters and stuff, guns that pretty much get in your way. But for like a player standpoint, they're pretty much like a noise minefield. So you get no engagement with a scav. Players on the other side of the map are like, "Oh, we hear shooting over here. Let's go over here." See how that works, right?
Okay. So it's kind of like a lure almost.
So this new Unheard Edition gives you a item specifically for scavs where they will not engage you, like, how do they say it? They won't engage you from 60 meters. They won't shoot you. Meaning you'll be able to freely walk around them even if they look at you from, you know, anything above 60 meters. Well, actually, like if you go any like further within, it's like 60 meters out, they won't shoot you. But if you go into their radius, they'll start shooting you.
That's
Basically,
just
create.
that's just an enemy with really bad like visual detection radius.
Well, here's the thing, though. They would normally shoot you. If you have this item, they won't shoot you. But if you go within that radius, they'll start shooting you.
Okay, so I find that
In other words,
like
you
I
can
understand the
basically walk
mechanics.
around. You can walk around them. They won't
Right,
shoot
I
you or
understand.
make noise.
Right, I understand the mechanics, but why would they do that? That's my question.
It's a
My
pay to win element.
Oh, fuck, right. Because if you don't have to worry about them, then you can more
You can walk around them and
easily
not have
get
to engage
around the
them.
other players.
Yeah. So it doesn't make like a noise for the other guys. But like, oh hey, let's go take these guys' gear and run off with it.
Right, because then you've given yourself a buffer advantage against the other
Hmm.
players that you paid for.
Um. So like the
Um,
game's also how do I put this? Like the inventory system for the game, like the UI, it's all in like a grid. So like, let's say I have like a
kind of like
vest,
old school Diablo.
kind of. Yeah,
Okay.
kind of. Like if you get like a backpack, you got certain grids where you can place items and stuff. Well, one of
Okay.
the perks of the Unheard edition is they basically give you a scav vest right off the rip. So like you have pockets for your character, which is like 4 single slots. Then you have the scav vest, which is a one, then two slot, and then two slot, then one. Um, I'm bad with my grids, but it's like I guess it's a 1 by 2, so like it's a vertical 2 squares.
Okay.
So it would normally just be singular squares horizontally, like in your pockets, where you can only put
Okay.
one slot or one
A one
square
slot item, a one
items.
square item.
Right.
So
So
this
basically,
this scav pack
effectively,
allows you to load up weaponry.
allows you to put 2 mags in both of those 1 by 2s. So you wouldn't have to go in with like a scav vest or any sort of vest or armor. You just go in with a gun, 1 mag in the gun, and 2 mags in your pockets. Like one for each pocket, I guess. I don't fucking know, but virtually making it where there's no risk. You just run in with a
Right.
gun, kill somebody, take their stuff, and run off with it.
Right. It makes it a lot less hectic or hazardous to
Well, you
engage
kind of play
in
like
the.
Russian roulette, but you don't really have any risk. You just lose like a gun and 3 mags versus like losing a full on rig with armor, helmet, night vision goggles, possibly a decent backpack.
Right.
Um, you know, your fully kitted out gun that's probably worth like a mil or two of rubles. Um, yeah. So that's kind of like the big problem with the pockets because it virtually lets you have a scav vest by default. Um,
Kind of takes away from some of the challenge of the game as it was initially.
oh, it got worse than that. They also gave you this beacon thing where if you were being pinned down or whatever, you could shoot off this beacon and it would alert your whole friends list that you need help. And they could jump in and assist you at that very given moment, which should not
It's like a
happen
flare
because
gun.
sort of. But here's the thing though, when you play the game, it's not like a join in progress type deal. Like you load in with a group, that's the group you load in with. If they die, they're dead. The only people that can join in progress is people that play as scavs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if a player dies, they're dead. But they had to like basically redo all their stuff because they got such a backlash in their chats on Discord. Not only
I'm kind of
Discord, Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, you name it.
I'm kind of wondering if that's going to happen with Helldivers.
I heard about that.
Yeah, you have to have a
Yep.
Sony or a PlayStation
I have a
Live account.
PlayStation, but that's so fucking dumb, dude.
Well, it's not only that, but you've got all these, hundreds of thousands of players with accounts who set up through Steam under the understanding that, hey, you're going to be able to access and play the game as it is, no other problems, no other conditions. And then, like Darth Vader coming into Cloud City, they have changed the deal, and we must pray they don't change it further. And
Well,
that's
see,
coming
that's the
from me.
thing.
I don't even
Like
play the game.
that's the same thing that pretty much happened with Tarkov. When they got rid of Edge of Darkness, that was a limited time thing. Like you weren't supposed to be able to buy Edge of Darkness anymore. That was it. Once it was gone, it was gone. And any future like content for the game you got for free. You paid your price. Now there's like a big debacle like financially because of Battlestate Games throwing a bunch of their money towards these big events, these big machine gun shoots for YouTubers that play their game and promote their product. They they were doing all this stuff to blow up Tarkov Arena, which sunk very, very badly. Like sunk worse than the Titanic.
Ooh, that's not good.
So because they sunk so much money into this, I believe this is their way of trying to climb back up to get
Oh,
back on top
undoubtedly.
to get done with
Undoubtedly.
Tarkov and fund their new game.
Right. And it's 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 sad when you see a company has a decent product, like they make a decent game that has a
They
diehard
do,
following.
but here's the problem with the game. And it's a very big problem. It's been a problem for years, and they haven't tried to aid it or do anything about it. The only thing that they've ever done to it in order to somewhat, I guess, cut off the pressure of it, I guess, like they have a very bad cheating problem.
I have heard this.
And they use a client such as BattleEye to run their anti cheat. If you're familiar with BattleEye, it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was part of Battlefield back in the day.
Yeah, that's outside of my sphere of gaming.
I know of it because of Arma 2. Back in the day, I played DayZ, which was like a survival mod for Arma 2. That was their anti cheat, which was like, dude, I was probably, yeah, I was in high school on a fucking laptop. I was on an HP laptop playing that. If that tells you how old this anti cheat is.
In the days of ago, Sonny.
Yeah. So,
As long as it wasn't something as dumb as, hey, you can get around this by pressing up, up, down, down, left, right, BA start.
well, yeah. So what they do to try to ease some of the pressure is instead of trying to invest into a new anti cheat that would like alleviate a majority of it, they did ban waves where they would ban a whole bunch of people. And while doing so, they would ban people that were not cheaters.
So they were just catching everybody in the net.
Yeah. People that were even undeserving of it.
That's a good way to destroy your client base.
Yeah. It yeah. It's such a downhill slope with BSG. And me, yeah, I was an enjoyer of Tarkov on and off. I played my fair share of it, and then just recent, I shut it off, stopped playing it for a little bit, and I started playing the Souls games. Obviously, I took kind of a break this week because being sick and all, but um,
All right, to be fair, yeah, you haven't been feeling
dude, after playing Souls and then this popping out of proportion, I'm like, what the fuck happened?
good.
Like,
Yeah, it's easy to lose track of things in a fast moving industry.
And
this is where I have an advantage over you. Things don't move all too fast in publishing in the bookish realm.
so the worst part about Tarkov, like your progression in that game, it's always wiped every 6 months. They do this to install new updates and do a lot of different fixes and changes to balance the game out, to refresh the economy in the
Okay,
game, because there's a open
I can
economy called the flea market in the game where you can buy guns and armor
okay,
sold by players.
okay. I can kind of see I can maybe see my way to the wisdom of that in a way.
So how that works is like, let's say they're talking about introducing new guns, new equipment, whatever, but it's not yet implemented in the game yet. Um, Basically, before they get to wipe it, like you couldn't just insert the guns like mid wipe in the game. Mind you, it's like every 6 months, so a wipe is 6 months. They try to push these new elements into the game so that they adjust on their own, price wise and whatnot. And then they make little changes here and there. But it's like it's kind of like a balance for economy and whatnot. It's kind of weird. It just kind of like makes everything kind of fit its own little bubble, I guess. I don't know how to explain it.
Almost sounds like seasons for some of the
They did introduce
battle
seasons.
royale shooters.
So that was another thing, like the PvE mode, player versus everything. There's uh there's persistent progression, meaning there's no wipes. Meaning whatever you do in your, offline mode is what you do. Like nothing's gonna stop you from progressing and leveling all the way up and getting all the quests done and doing whatever. Um yeah, so like I said, this was promised to all the EOD players the whole time, and then they're like, "Oh, fuck you! Here's $250. Go, you need to go buy it the way it is," or "Oh well." Then they gave like half-ass apologies, like, "Well,
Yeah,
we'll do this," but
that's basically they want to make pay pigs out of everybody who jumped on early and saw a genuine, real, concrete value in that large initial investment,
mhm.
and they're
And
saying,
that's how people looked
"Oh,
at it.
right," they're like, "Oh, thanks for that huge investment. We're going to use it, and oh, by the way, now we're going to turn around and not give you the things that we told you would be included with that initial investment. Go fuck
Yeah.
yourselves. Pay me my money now. Money, please." Now, fuck that. If you make a promise to your customer that you will deliver X, Y, or Z in exchange for payment A, and you give them X and Y, and you tell them you were supposed to get Z, but now Z is going to be its own cost payment B. Go fuck yourself. Pay me my money. Money, please. That kind of bullshit trickery. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, I cannot see my way ethically to defending that in any way,
Mm-mm.
shape, or form.
And nobody has. Everybody's actually went to the game. It's called Gray Warzone. It's like another extraction shooter type genre game,
Okay.
and people have moved on to it. It's much cheaper. It just started, making its rounds. They released it not too, like, I think literally the other day, and yeah, I'm probably gonna wind up playing it here in a little while. Check it out, give my first impressions of it.
Wait.
But
I I am being given the signal that this little man would like his lunch soon, and I can hear Malia in there kind of grumping. So I think it is just about time for me to get back to full time dadding.
all right, well, real quick before you do that, I just want to show you something here.
Don't point that at me.
Oh, Just a quick video here. It's like a minute edition. Oh yeah, so that knife that they just showed off, to add more insult to injury to this whole thing, that was a fucking market asset that they bought and then put into this. Meaning they did not make it. They
Right, this
changed
is
just
someone else
one
made
little
it.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah. And these guns, by the way, they all come with like mid-tier ammo that can penetrate most armors in the game. You start out with all this, meaning you already have like bullets that can pretty much kill everybody right off the rip.
This is what you said before. That's pay to win.
Yeah. So like here's another thing that's gonna blow your mind about Tarkov. It's actually got like a ballistics for the game. Like you've got really good ammo that's got really good armor penetrating ability. Couple cons, couple
No.
pros. You get the picture. Like they all have their own use. But
Right.
then you have some really, really shitty ammo that's inaccurate and it fucks your gun up a lot easier and that type of deal. This is like damn near mid to late tier ammo that they give you right off the rip in this edition. That pretty much just somebody shoots you with like dog shit ammo, you could shoot them with this ammo and they just drop like that.
So yeah, it's basically, hey, if you pay us enough money, we'll make it easier for you to win instead of relying on skill.
I'll put it to you like this: it's like taking a slingshot and putting peas in it, canned peas in it, and then you walk up to them with a 9mm.
Yeah, that's not balanced at all.
Right. Oh yeah, that's another thing. BSG, mind you, before this came out, there was a thing called Single Player Tarkov. It was a third-party mod for the game. This is back
I heard
when
someone talking about this yesterday, actually.
Yep. So Battlestate did not like this group doing this with their game. Matter of fact, I mean, there were groups that were like basically pirating the game, where you didn't have to buy the game at all. So SPT Aki, which is like they're the good modders, the good community of modders that tried to preserve the game without BSG's bullshit. BSG was so petty, so fucking petty, that they were making TOS terms, and I don't care if I get banned for saying this. They were so fucking petty that they were taking channels and copyright striking them for even discussing this fucking SPT Aki, let alone showing off gameplay of it. They were banning him from the game. Basically saying, oh, well, we don't like you playing the game that way, even though you bought
Yeah,
the rights to play the game. We don't like you
right.
playing the game that way, so we either play the game we play the game the way we want you to play it, or that's it, get out.
That goes above and beyond intellectual property protection. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
That would be akin to any of the authors whose books I have done reviews for on my BitChute channel or on Substack saying, hey, you talked about my book in way X, Y, or Z, pay me money or I'm going to shut down your video. Fuck you. You
No,
created
They just didn't
artistic
want you to have
product.
any
And
representation of SPT Aki at all. At all.
right,
Even
they wanted you to not say anything unless you were paying and playing their product their way. That's not how this is supposed to work.
no, I bought the game. I should play it any fucking way I want to play it. Besides cheating and the expense of other players, that much I am against. You know.
Well, right. Do you remember back in the day? I don't remember exactly how long ago this was. It was I know it was back in the like, mid 90s. Konami put out Gradius 3 for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and it was one of the first games they made that did not have the Konami code. Well, somebody, some enterprising, like computer engineer, software kind of guy, he was like a freelancer of some sort. He cracked open the cartridge and he went into the coding and he found that there was a different code that had the same basic effect as the Konami code. And he
Hmm.
wrote a letter to Nintendo Power about it. And Konami wrote a response letter in the following month's issue congratulating him and saying, "Thank you for finding this exploit. We are grateful that you enjoy our products so much and are such a fan that you felt inspired to go diving deep into the very code of our game.
Hmm.
Carry on." They give him the thumbs up because, yes, it was an exploit and a cheat that made the game infinitely easier, but because of the way that they congratulated this guy, R Type 3 went on to be one of the biggest selling games on the Super Nintendo for like 2 or 3 years straight because the company valued their customers' feedback and their customers' enjoyment of their product.
I mean, I wish companies were more like that now. But you hear things like this, and it's just like, wow, dude, you don't care about the people that support you at all. It's like, you make them pay all this money, but hey, fuck them for being the
Right.
supporters they were.
And that's all that most customers. I understand. I'm not naive enough to think there's no such thing as I'm not naive enough to say, well, they should just be happy they have customers. I know that they want to maximize profit and money on their products as much as they can, ad infinitum, ad absurdum. I get that. But there is, even for me, a free market libertarian, there is a point at which, I'm sorry, that's just too fucking much. That's greedy to the point
Right.
where you are actively going out of your way to harm the the community of players who you are relying upon to continue your own success down the road. It's suicidal.
See, then that's where the crazy part about all that is like this game. How do I put this? This game has such a cult following, especially BSG itself, but it's to a point where, yeah, a whole bunch of people were mad, but you also have the fanboys who went and paid the money and will go on the Discord and say, "Oh, you're just a broke bitch. Get over it." So
Oh,
oddly
yeah,
enough, you have the counterpart of the people that don't like that decision, along with the cheaters who already fucked the game up that much more. Mind you, this game's still in a fucking beta. It's not even done yet.
yeah.
But the best part of this whole thing, the literal, I don't even want to say the icing or the frosting on the cake, it's literally the cherry on top, is the players that already hate the decision that they made. The
Yeah.
cheaters and those players have went hand in hand, and the cheaters are now targeting the people who had bought the edition of the game.
So you're gonna be like, oh, you're gonna be a shill. Well, fuck you.
Yes. So they're going through the game and killing everybody that has that edition of the game, shooting them through walls across the map. However, and yeah, I haven't touched the game because I did pay the $100. I wanted to see what the big fuss was. I wanted to see
Right.
what you were given. I wanted to experience what other people shouldn't experience. But that being said, me buying it, I knew what I was getting into. I didn't get ripped off. All these other people got ripped off.
Yeah, no. Mishkit.
And even then, I feel kind of dirty even buying it because it's like, this is really it. I could have done not. Okay. Here's the even better part of all this. SPT Aki, when you first download it and install it and do all the shit you need to do to make it run, you can go in between the different editions of the game. If I want to play as the Left Behind edition, the Standard edition, or Edge of Darkness, right? I could just get a standard account for like 40, $50. Go download SPT Aki, get it running, and I'm pretty damn sure if they had already done this with the other editions, I am pretty fucking sure you could do this with the Unheard edition and not have to pay a dime, but get to play on single player. But the even better part about that is because since they gave the Unheard edition um, the PVE co-op mode, I could still do that for way cheaper for playing through MPT or SPT. And I guess what I'm saying is, don't spend the $250 fucking dollars. Spend $50, download MPT, and go play with your buddies that way.
Yeah, I'm sorry. After a certain after a certain price tag, it gets to be just way too fucking much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in my view, again, I am speaking from the perspective of somebody who does not allocate really any kind of budget for video games at this point because I don't have the time or the inclination most days to play a lot of video games. Um, but even if I were in the position to be able to, I cannot see myself justifying that kind of expenditure on a game that
Yeah.
it sounds to me like it's broken, and as you pointed out, it's not even finished yet.
Nope. They're not even past the 1.0 point.
Yeah, I'm sorry that to me is just that's a deal breaker.
It
A
was
lot of
one
that
thing
sounds
to
like a deal breaker.
support the project, as an EOD player, but like I said, I didn't buy the $150 right off the rip. I tried the game out for what it was, and I enjoyed what
Right.
I played of it, and then I'm like, all right, I like what I'm doing here. I'm having fun. Throw a little bit more money at it, and since we're gonna play this for a while anyway, why not go all in?
Right,
And I
because
did.
it was an investment.
Hmm. But to have that thrown in your face, like right at the very end, it's like, guys, you just fucking killed your game.
You team killing fucktard. Old
I know
school.
you got to go, but there's one more thing you got to hear about.
What's up?
They're the man, like their proposal. Well, I shouldn't even say proposal. It's more like a negotiation at this point. Was okay. We're gonna get rid of some of the pay to win elements, but we're still gonna keep on her edition, which is whatever at this point. I mean, you already kind of fucked everybody over with that anyway. Um, Basically, EOD people that bought EOD. Yeah, so since you bought EOD, we're gonna give it to you for we're gonna give on her edition to you for 6 months. Instead of giving you access like we should have done to begin with. 6 months, and then you have to upgrade if you want to play it in that edition.
Yeah, no, I'd be out the door.
Yeah. It was like you got guys, you're not making this any better. Yeah.
It's like they stepped in a pile of dog crap and then decided, you know what'll make this better? If I step in that other smellier pile of dog crap to get the first dog crap off my boot.
It was like they just stepped in a bigger pile of shit. Not even just from a dog, but for a collective of shit. Animals just started shitting in one pile and they stepped in that pile.
Oh dear God, I don't know what it is.
Right.
Makes me think of old school Family Guy when Peter's in the outhouse and gets knocked over. Oh God, it's everywhere. It's in my raccoon wounds.
Yeah.
I love that shit. But anywho,
Yeah.
yes, I am going to sign off for the time being, ladies and
Yep.
gents.
I'm gonna hop off here as well. May go live and play some Dark Souls. I don't know yet. We'll see, depending on how I feel.
Are you still on 3?
Yeah, I still got a couple bosses to beat, and I'll be going to Bloodborne.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking for some live stream of the Soulsborne series, then keep an eye out and see if Cortex Gaming is going to be popping up live again in a little while.
That's
And
if
for
I'm not
my
hacking
part,
up a lung.
if you're not, one does hope you're feeling continuously
I
better
hope I
as we
feel
go
better
throughout the
then,
day.
dude. I really do.
Godspeed on that, brother.
Yeah.
And for my part, as I did last week, I'm going to once again do some recommendations for Substack. Substack is a wonderful place to do some reading in both nonfiction and fiction, as well as looking for some modern day op eds from independent or small press authors, journalists, writers, commentators, and what have you. There are some heavy hitters on Substack, but I would always recommend going for the lesser known qualities, folks who are genuinely trying to do something with the platform in the written word primarily, who have not had as much of an opportunity or who are just getting their beak wet and deciding they want to go the independent route. This week, I would recommend if you're looking for geopolitical or sociopolitical commentary, there's a gentleman by the name of Morg Tharak the Undead. A lot of his pieces kind of incorporate him making observations on real world events and news commentary from the perspective of a lich. Like he comments on these things as if he is a member of the undead. It's somewhat amusing, and I enjoy his takes on things. And then there's also an account that does some fantastic modern day sort of updated takes on an oldie but goodie, a favorite of the current, sort of urban legends, uh, telling stories from the perspective of a Bigfoot, a Sasquatch. And the
Sans
series is
Squint.
entitled, yeah, the series is entitled Stomp Roams by Jonathan Zelk. There's these short little vignettes done very much in a kind of almost noir 30s slash 40s traveling detective style because Stomp is going from coast to coast, encountering other magical creatures from American folklore, trying to find other members of the Sasquatch race. He is trying to find his own people, and it is his various adventures. One of my favorite stories is in this series is when he stops over in the sewers of New York City and is trying to talk to the mice and the gator people who live in the sewers. And he's trying to get some information on where he might find more of his own people. and one of these gators or crocodile people has a bit of a grudge with Stomp because he has met other Sasquatches who he loaned money to, and they scarpered out of town without paying their tab. So this croc wants to take it out on Stomp, and Stomp's not having any part of it. It's a great little story. Again, his name is Jonathan Delt. He's over on Substack. You can find him at Stomp Roams at Substack.com.
Nice. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, another thing before we go, I do want to add. I know Warhammer, you're not fully into it yet, but I know I've talked about this before. It's something I want to get you into. I kind of want to open up not only us doing deep dives, but I want us to kind of get into like either Warhammer or like just talk about kind of like what's going on, game news or whatever. Whatever I guess the topic may be, but I'll bring up certain topics like that.
The geekatudinous news of the week sort of thing?
Yeah.
I can definitely be on board for that.
Sweet.
I know for my part, in terms of like current events, sort of popular culture, I have made a promise to myself to finally getting around to watching X-Men 97.
I've heard about that.
I'm going to be watching the first couple of episodes today, or rather later tonight when I'm on break at work. I hear you over there, honey. Yeah.
Did you ever get around to watching the Fallout show yet?
Not yet, but that is also on my slate. So I have Fallout to watch, X-Men 97, and from a recommendation from one of my fellow horror authors, he's recommending that I finally give the Conjuring films a watch because I have avoided them for years now. Yeah, the Conjuring 1 and 2. He's like, you really should check those out. I think they might be up your
alley. I'll give them a watch too, and maybe we can dabble into that.
Yeah, definitely. And he's like, I'm surprised you haven't watched them, Josh. I'm like, no, they didn't pique my interest at the time. I was at that. I was going through one of my heavier fantasy indulgences when those movies came out, so I wasn't really that interested.
I actually watched a really cheesy movie not too long ago. It was a couple cheesy movies. One being Stay Alive with Frankie Muniz in it. The kid from Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh, right. I remember him.
Yeah. It was about a video game that was killing people, and it had supernatural, paranormal abilities. If you died in the game, you died the same way that you died in the game.
That sounds an awful lot like the book I'm currently reading from Piers Anthony, Kilobyte.
And then
that's an older book, too. That's from 1993.
There was this other one called The Visit that I watched, which was about two kids going to visit their grandparents, and they start acting weird. And the mom and the grandparents, I guess, had a falling out.
I've heard of this one. I haven't seen any trailers yet, but I've heard it's
I recommend you give it
a watch. Shit. I've heard it's almost trauma levels of awful.
It is, but
I love watching the trauma movies.
It is, but there's a moment in that movie, dude, where you're going to be like, what the actual fuck? And then bust out laughing at the same time. Well, there's a couple of those moments, but there's a specific moment in that movie.
That's always a good kind of combination. I remember this Australian horror movie from back in, I think it was the late 80s, early 90s, called They Live. And there's this one character who he's a priest, and he's fighting off the zombies with awful kung fu. He busts down a door into the house and goes, "I kick ass for the Lord," and then he beats up a bunch of zombies, and then succumbs to a wave of them that eat his face.
Oh, there was one more movie that I watched. It was called Surviving the Game. It came out a year before. It was 1994 when it came out. It has Gary Busey in it and Ice-T.
Gary Busey.
Yeah.
I love Gary Busey. He's such a fucking weirdo.
He is, but you know what? He's hilarious.
Hi, kids. I'm Gary Busey. Yeah, even you think it's funny, and you don't even know what I'm talking about.
Hold on. Now that we're here on that moment. Hold up.
Oh boy. Family Guy. Hey, Gary Busey, how you doing? I'm doing great. Good. Keep it up. You gotta look up that clip if you don't remember it.
My buttered sausage, where it comes from, what it does, why is it doing what it's doing? Get it out of my face. What about buttered sausage?
That's not your jam. So you think you don't like it?
It's not my jam. I don't buy jam. I buy honey, and I kiss it on the lips.
God bless Gary Busey.
That wasn't really him, but I had to bring it up.
I know, but then still, I can see him saying some shit like that.
Well, if you take 5 and you add 5 and you add 10 and you add 10 and you got 20, you got infinite kindness, you got infinite gratuity. And through that, you can find something that's a perpetual inside of you. Like you're drinking that coffee. There's something spiritual about that. If you look at something and there's nothing there, what's the difference of figuring out what it was in the first place? I mean, these are metaphors. You must understand that you go to Chinatown, you get nunchucks. Well, now you can't get nunchucks. Before you get nunchucks, they hit yourself on the hand. You go numb fucks because it hurt, but you didn't want to say ow or anything like that. You just said. So this is the divine intervention. You could become a spiritual guru on your own, but you just have to tie your shoes.
Oh dear Lord!
And you just have to know how to eat burritos backwards. I want to get to burritos. I want to talk about burritos. You eat it backwards. The leaky part starts going first. You go on the other part, the dry wrap part, and it gives you almost no time to eat the leaky part. And it's just a fun little game you can play with yourself. There's a defined frequency. There's not necessarily the frequency you want it to be, but it serves a purpose. It's like that movie, like You Can't Handle the Truth. You can't handle the truth, son. We live in a world that has walls. This thing, and I don't think we do live in a world that has walls. I think that we live in a world that has frequency. Maybe if you use that voodoo witchcraft on your own trade, you'd find somewhere on the other end of the snake pit. I mean, do you know what a revolutionary soldier looks like? Have you seen photographs? Have you seen paintings? Have you seen charcoal sketches? I haven't seen them either. You can have a Diet Coke or a Coca-Cola. That's what Mahatma Gandhi said. He said you could have Diet Coke, but why? All the time. Look at the purple, the color purple. A child's marker. It's so purple. That hasn't always been the case. 10 years ago, these markers weren't so purple, but now they're purple. Now they're really, really fucking purple, and it's alarming to me, and it's also enchanting to me to see the deep blue sea inside. This. Let's talk about buttered sausage. Talk about buttered sausage, where it comes from, what it does, why is it doing what it's doing? Get it out of my face. Buttered sausage.
I can't. I fucking can't.
Oh Lord.
But we're gonna wrap it up there.
All right, brother.
It's been fun.
Thank you, brother.
Progressive. Oh God, yeah. Scuba brought up something. Gary Busey got in a hit and run not too long ago.
Oh Jesus.
He got in a hit and run, and he hit this lady, and she's like, I need your insurance and all that, and he's like, progressive. And he drives off, and as he's driving off, he puts on the Beach Boys.
What the fuck?
Wouldn't it be nice if we were old?
What the fuck?
Or would it be nice if we could wake up? Yeah, that fucking. Oh my god, bro. I was crying, man. He's like progressive. But he's literally fleeing the scene too.
Yeah, his brain is broken.
That and his face looks like it had an earthquake. All right, man. It's been fun.
Indeed, it has. Thank you again for letting me see and react.
Definitely a legend. Always, man. And on that note, we're out of here. Be easy, everybody. We're out.
Peace. Worming. Oh my.
It's the right time to rise up to the time as we cause time. The city that we make, the power that you crave. Time to rise up to the time as we cause time.